Alright guys, so I know I took a little bit getting this list out, took my sweet time, it's already halfway through the first month of 2024, but I want to give you my top 10 games of 2023. So if you missed out on any of these games, go back on play them. Let's get into it. Number 10, and this might be the most controversial pick of mine on this list, especially because of the ones I am leaving out. Number 10 is an overlooked game, that is Immortals of Aveum. Yes, I know a lot of people didn't dive into this game, didn't love it when they played it. I had a great time with this game. I thought it was a lot of fun, added a lot of cool new aspects to a first-person shooter game, but really in the end it was just a new first-person shooter with a different skin on it, so that's why it's number 10. Moving on to number 9, probably the surprise of the year for a lot of people, and a lot of people have it ranked higher. For me, it was a great game, but a little too short, and that is Hi-Fi Rush. Absolutely phenomenal game. Might be my game for best art design. The art style was really, really cool. The gameplay was unique with the, fight to the rhythm in a different way. Characters were lovable, and I just really had a good time with this game. And if you have Game Pass, it was included on Game Pass, being an Xbox Game Studios game. Going into number 8, I have a Souls-like game being Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. This is another game that I played because of Game Pass. Absolutely loved it. The bosses were amazing, super challenging. I've played some other Souls-like games, and this one was really difficult at times, especially without it, keying in and telling you what you need to do, and it took some figuring out on really how to play this game right. Coming in at number 7, I've got Final Fantasy 16. Now, I absolutely love the story of this game, love the voice acting, love the visuals, loved almost everything about it. My only downside to this game, too many cutscenes. Especially to start, it seemed like I would play for just a little bit and then it would go into another cutscene. That's pretty typical with JRPGs, but this one was just almost had me stop playing the game to start because I wasn't being able to actually play the game. But when I got into it, it was a ton of fun. I don't even remember how many hours total I put into this. It was, close to 80, I think, but had a ton of fun. The boss battle's huge. Really good time. At number 6, Alan Wake 2. Visually, this might be the best looking game on this list. Absolutely stunning realistic graphics. The storytelling is great through and through until the end. I didn't like the kind of twist they took there. During the live action scenes, they had the Alan Wake voice actor dub over the voice of the live action actor, which was a little bit off and kind of took me out of it a little bit. Didn't love that, but all in all, I loved this game, had a hard time putting it down. Before we go into our top 5, let me just give you a couple honorable mentions. First, we're going to say Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Really fun game, had a good time with it. However, it is, to me, just another Mario game. It wasn't anything super new and exciting. Yes, there's new mechanics to Mario, but other than that, it's just another 2D Mario game that was a lot of fun. I don't think it deserves to be in a top 10. Another one that I'm going to get so much hate for not even being in my top 10, that's Baldur's Gate 3. Like I said, nothing wrong with this game. This is my list, my top 10. I just am not a huge turn-based fan. I started playing, I even played with my wife for a little bit. Doing split screen, it's fun and all, but having that really narrow screen to yourself, not as enjoyable as playing on the big full screen. And then just turn-based, I just can't get into it. It's just not my style. It slows down too much. I need a little bit more fast-paced for really my personal enjoyment. That's just me. That's why I'm giving it honorable mention, because to some, obviously some of the best storytelling that's been in these games of 2023, being a phenomenal year. It's tough to leave any games out, but unfortunately for me, out of my top 10. So, moving on to our top 5. Number 5, Hogwarts Legacy. This is one I was playing nonstop. Had so much fun with it. Looking back on it, a little bit too easy, not super challenging, but it was a great time. A lot of fun using all the spells. The way they incorporated it with the buttons and the commands was, I think, flawless. It was a ton of fun. The exploration was great too. It did not feel like an empty world. I thought it was a great open world with all these little towns, a little bit to do. The story, a little bit lacking, not the most creative. Could have been more fun there. I wish there would have been some sort of Quidditch in this game. That would have bumped it up for sure. But all in all, I look back at it and I had so much fun with this game. I was smiling the entire time being a Harry Potter fan. So it's got to be on a top 10 list. Number 4, another one that's, me because I'm a nerd and just a fan of this IP, Jedi Survivor. I absolutely love Star Wars, my favorite franchise out there, and this one took what was in Fallen Order and made it even better. The semi-open world in the hub planet was a lot of fun, added more exploration. My only knock on this game is that on that planet for the open world, there were some performance issues. I'm sure they've patched it since then, but kind of took you out of it a little bit. Moving in to top 3, I do want to do another shout out to a couple games here, and that is Ravenlock. Super charming, pretty game if you like the story of Alice in Wonderland. It was a lot of fun. Pretty quick playthrough, but I really had a good time with it. Another indie game that was a lot of fun was The Last Case of Benedict Fox. It's a Metroidvania style game, a lot of puzzles to be solved. This one had me engaged a lot, but once again, the ending just kind of ruined the whole game for me. Didn't love the ending at all and just kind of made me forget about it. And last honorable mention that I have for this list is Bramble the Mountain King. This game was a ton of fun, really pretty game. And it is a horror-like game, so there are definitely some scary moments in this game, but it is a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it. All 3 of those games, by the way, available on Game Pass, so if you have Game Pass, try them out. At number 3, I have Spider-Man 2. This game was a ton of fun. Visuals were awesome. Storytelling was awesome. They took everything about the first Spider-Man and Miles Morales and just made it better. Swapping between the 2 Spider-Man characters was awesome and very seamless. Very impressive with that. New York is at its best. There's a lot of NPCs out there that really feel like they're alive, and there's so much great to this game. However, I do feel like they put too much into too little, and it was a little bit too short. I was a little bit under 30 hours total into this game, and I feel like it should have been an easy 60 hours on what they could have done with such a large world and the story. That's why it fell down to number 3. Number 2, and I really consider putting this at my number 1, this is probably my most talked about game on this list. Another game that is on Game Pass from an indie developer, and that is Lies of P. Another Souls-like game, absolutely gorgeous. Right up there with Alan Wake with visuals. Loved it. Had no performance issues with this game at all. The storytelling, above average for a Souls-like game, and it is super challenging. The bosses were a lot of fun, and I will probably give this one another playthrough eventually, and I'm super excited that there will be a sequel to this game. Do not sleep on Lies of P. It was so close to being my game of the year. But when it all comes down to it, my game of the year, I'm a little biased because it's my favorite video game franchise ever, and that is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Once again, like I've said with a couple of these, it took what was awesome about the first game, being Breath of the Wild, if you're calling that the first game, and really just made it better. The story, 20 times better than Breath of the Wild. The mechanic of building and all that was a lot of fun, and they doubled the size of the world with the inclusion of the depths. So if you're a Zelda fan, you haven't played this, shame on you, go play it. My game of the year. So that is my top 10 games of 2023. What were your top 3 games of the year? Let me know in the comments. What did I mess up? What do you disagree with me on? What do you agree with me on? Love to chat with you guys. But until next time, we hope to see you soon on Super Platinum Achievement. Later.